With the Elden Ring DLC literally just hours away, a lot of players are doing some last minute grinding to kill Mohg in order to access the DLC. In case you're not aware, you need to kill Mohg and Radahn in order to access the DLC. In today's video, I'm going to show you 4 easy ways to kill Mohg, so let's jump into it. There are a few things you're going to want to get before taking on Mohg. First, you're going to want to finish Yura's questline. I'll explain why in just a second. If you met Yura in Limgrave after he helps you with the fight with the Bloody Finger Urgus, follow the chasm all the way down and you will see Yura there and you can speak to him. He will tell you about the Bloody Fingers and he'll mention that you should stay away from Agil Lake as there's a dragon in there.
One last word of warning, stay clear of Agil Lake and it's as fearsome. So, unless stay clear of the lake.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call foreshadowing, because that's exactly where we're going to go. Once you kill the dragon, go slightly south to the Dragon Burnt Ruins to a collapsed archway. You'll find Yura chilling there, and you want to exhaust his dialogue here.
Beautiful work, felling that dragon. And as such, there's something you might like to know. The heart you brought back. It's used in Dragon Communion. If you should find yourself overcome by hunger for the heart, yearning for its strength, then seek the decrepit church on the little island off the western coast. You must not forget, though, those who partake in Dragon Communion will one day shed their humanity, their hunger for dragon, their yearning only worsens until the floodgates burst, unleashing eternal torment. The strength of a mighty dragon. Magnificent, but deadly. It's no surprise that Dragon Communion is ruinous.
Once you get to the Liurnia Lakes, you'll make your way to the Rea Lucaria main gate. You'll see a summon sign down there that will allow you to return Yura's favor for helping you with Urgus. After you kill the Bloody Finger, speak to Yura and he will mention Eleonora and that you should stay away from her at all costs.
Of all Bloody Fingers. She's felled many an old hand already, but in spite of her cessblood zealotry, Eleonora is a proud knight. If she comes for you, do not think twice. You must flee. There is no shame in self-preservation.
Well, wouldn't you know, some more foreshadowing, because we're going to do exactly the opposite of what he says to do. Once you exhaust his dialogue, you're going to want to go to the Altus Highway Junction Grace and travel slightly northwest. Here you will find the Second Church of Marika. If you fully completed Yura's quest, you will get invaded by Eleonora here. If for whatever reason you don't get invaded by Eleonora here, you might need to go check in Yura's previous locations to see if he's still there or if his body's there. If you see the Nagakiba, loot that and then go back to the second church and then she should invade you. Once you kill her, you'll get the Purifying Crystal tier, which will let you purify Mohg's blood curse, making his phase 2 significantly easier.
It seems I am no match for you, but I've learned a thing or two myself. You see, I've sliced the finger off. Please. Please, Eleonora. Yield to the cessblood no longer. Do not stain the immaculacy of your sword. Your flesh. Your fire.
The next item that you're going to want to get is Mohg's Shackle. This item can be found down in the Leyndell sewers. Travel to the Avenue balcony site of Grace and then make your way down to the stairs to your left. Jump over the railing and run across the buildings, and then jump off the buildings, and to your right, you will find a well that leads down. Just follow this path here, and then once you reach a large room with some pipes, just follow these pipes until you get to the far side, and then to your left, you'll see a pipe that's slightly lower that you can jump onto. Jump or roll onto this pipe, and then jump or roll all the way down to the floor. Here there will be 2 sniper lobsters, so either kill them quickly or run past the far wall to pick up Mohg Shackle. Please note though that Mohg Shackle can only be used during his phase 1 and it only works twice. So if you try to use it during phase 2, it won't work. Just keep that in mind during the fight. Optionally, you can pick up the Lord of Blood's Exaltation, which is not too far away from where Mohg Shackle is. This is really good during the Mohg fight, even if you're not in a bleed build, because there's going to be a ton of bleeding going around. To find this, progress further into the sewers until you find a catacomb dungeon. I won't show any footage for this dungeon because I think this is probably one of the best dungeons in the game, and if you haven't experienced it, it's definitely worth doing it blind on your first time. All I'll tell you is that there's a boss at the end that will give you the talisman. Now we're all set to go kill Mohg. This fight, like many others, is extremely easy for a strength build. Summons are also really helpful for this fight, even if it's just to draw aggro for a few seconds and allow you to pummel the crap out of Mohg. The best way I found to fight Mohg on a strength build is just to chain stagger him. Jumping R2s, Royal Knight's Resolve, or really anything that does high poise damage is really good against him. Try to stagger him close to the 50% mark so you can get a big critical off before he starts channeling Nihil. Right when he starts channeling, pop your physic with the Purifying Crystal tier and this will trivialize the damage. Wail on him while he's channeling, and when he's done, he should be pretty close to dead. Finish him off, and now you're off to the DLC. The Mohg fight for an intelligence user is basically a joke. Unless you don't want to use Common Azor or you don't have Common Azor. If you don't have Common Azor, you probably should at this point in the game. It's one of the most powerful spells for an intelligence user. But if you don't want to use it, I get it. The spell is pretty OP. But if you're using it, it's the simplest and easiest way to kill Mohg. So all you're going to do is just summon whatever your chosen summon is. I like Black Knight Teach for this fight because his Black Blade does % health damage and Mohg has a lot of health, but you can really use whatever summon that you want as long as it can take a few hits and not die. Once your summon has got aggro, pop your Physic Flask with the Cerulean Hidden tier and ideally a Magic Shrouding tier, and as you can see in this video, I didn't even have Magic Shrouding tier or Terra Magica up, and I almost kill him in a single Common Azor. I'm not going to go into how to get Common Azor or the hidden tier in this video, as chances are if you're playing an intelligence build, you probably already know where this is and have both of these items. If you're playing a Dex build, this fight is a bit more challenging than Strength or Intelligence. This is not my footage here as I did not have a Dex build that was close enough to fight Mohg and showcase this fight. If I did though, I probably would do a status build against Mohg as he's weak to blood loss, which is odd since he's the Lord of Blood, but hey, I don't make the rules. He's also weak to frostbite and poison, so using anything that can afflict these statuses is really effective against him. Bleed is your friend in this fight, so lean heavily into the bleed and you will make short work of him. The final method is the cheese method. Now, I do not recommend using this method because you are basically glitching the game, but if you've banged your head up against the wall and you just can't get Mohg down and you want to play the DLC, here's the method. I would highly suggest, though, that you try to get good and kill him on your own. Even maybe summon some friends in to help, because it is a pretty big sense of accomplishment killing that hard boss and getting through that hard area on your own. But if you're over it, I get it. So here's the method on how to cheese him. So what you're going to do is you're going to walk into the fog wall, and then once Mohg starts walking towards you, quit out of the game. Once you load back in, you will be outside the fog wall. If you want to check to make sure you did this correctly, you can jump up on the tombstones to your right and look over the wall, and if you did it correctly, you'll see Mohg standing there. Walk back down to the site of grace, but do not warp, as it will despawn the boss. Once at the site of grace, you will form a series of platforming. This was nerfed recently to make it harder, so it is pretty precise, but I tested it yesterday and it works just fine. You're going to want to progress along these rocks until you reach a chasm that you will have to mount Torrent to get across. You will get immediately dismounted once you cross the chasm, so huff it on foot for a bit until you can remount again. You will make your way up some stones that are covered in blood, and you'll see a hole in the ground that's also covered in blood. Slowly make your way to the bottommost rock and then jump with Torrent. As your character starts to fall through the hole, hit double jump. You should clip through and start falling. Once you start falling, start swinging your weapon, and after a short duration, you will start getting runes of enemies that are glitching out. Continue doing this for a few minutes, and you will eventually get credit for killing Mohg. Well, hopefully this helps you guys get Mohg down if you've been struggling. If you have any questions, though, please leave them in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it does really help with the YouTube algorithm. I make weekly content on various gaming topics, gaming news, gaming guides, things like that. So until next time, have a great day/night. See ya.